Welcome back, Commanders, to Community BattleCast PrimeTime. It's that time of the year again for our annual holiday episode. We've got an action-packed episode featuring a special segment with lots of news, mods, and your BattleCast. And, of course, your fan art. So let's dig in. Kicking off with the news of the Mod of the Year competition, which is just wrapped up. The top 10 mods of the year have been chosen, and despite multiple C&C mods making it into the run, only one C&C mod made it into the top 10. Coming in at number 3 is Rise of the Reds. A big congratulations to the SWR team, who continue to make this mod great. This mod definitely deserves a spot in the top 10. And of course, congratulations to all the C&C mods that made it into the top 100, with a total of 9 of them, and 2 upcoming mods. For those alliances who have destroyed the Forgotten Fortress in Tiberium Alliance, on December 16th, a new world opened up for you to join to participate in Tiberium Alliance's World Championship. So if you got what it takes, check out all the rules and all the sweet prizes available to the victor. The Play C&C team has posted an update since we last reported on them. As of yet, not too much has been revealed about this service. However, they are improving their website and even unveiled their leaderboard design. So while we may not have anything exciting just yet, it is nice to see that the team is taking steps to ensure that their service will be a pleasure to use day or night on any device. Check out their most recent blog for all the details of what they've been up to. Speaking of redesigns, the C&C subreddit has undergone a makeover provided by Kobomino. Be sure to hit up the subreddit for not only the improved look, but also all things C&C, such as holiday live streams, news from around the community, and of course, the monthly subreddit screenshot competition. Renegade X has received a lot of press recently. Since they announced the release date, they posted a fly-through of Mesa, a remake of a classic Renegade map. Been interviewed by Strategy Informer, received an honorable mention on IndieDB's top 5 upcoming games, and now they've released the first episode in Season 3 of their community QA. You can check it out in the link below, get answers to all the burning questions, and leave your own questions to be answered. Also, if you're interested in getting access to the beta for Renegade X, you can jump on over to their forums and apply. If you remember the C&C Saga art we covered some time ago, you'll be pleased to hear that there's new art added to the list of C&C girls. This artwork, featuring Tanya holding a gun backwards, is accompanied by a short article and an awesome compilation of behind-the-scenes footage from Red Alert 2. The Polaris Lore channel recently covered the original Command & Conquer and Red Alert in their series, Lore in a Minute. You can check out both videos as well as a C&C-themed Fast Facts on the Lore channel to get into the mood for some classic action. This holiday season, you can grab many C&C games at jaw-dropping prices across Origin and Steam, as well as local retailers. Currently, the Ultimate Collection is 40% off on Origin, or you can pick up the Steam version at 50% off. And now it's time for the mod spotlight. I got another batch of mods here, including a bunch from the top 100 and of course, our number 3 mod of the year. So let's take a look. Modern Warfare is a total conversion for 0 Hour and is our first mod that made the top 100 on ModDB. If you want action set in modern times with a little less sci-fi and a little more realism than 0 Hour offers, then grab the latest version, 0.51. This mod is still nowhere near being finished, but we still recommend you keep an eye on it and give it a try. Tiberium Apocalypse also made the top 100 released mods of the year, and on December 1st, the 1.4 beta launched. We've covered this mod before, but for those of you who may not know, Tiberium Apocalypse will overhaul GDI, Nod, and Scrim in order to create a sequel to Tiberium Sun. Keep in mind that this is still in beta, and there's still more content being added. But if you want to pick it up and give it a try, links below. C&C Saga's Diva Dom has announced a new fan mod based on fanfiction that had been posted to C&C Saga. The mod will be for Tiberium Sun and will combine all 3 universes and draw inspiration from numerous fan works. We don't quite understand all of what's going on in this mod, but honestly it sounds kind of interesting. But we did have help from Odd and Martin MB, who actually speak French in writing this piece. In summary, if you speak French and like mods, contact Divadom for more information. Another top 100 mods was General's Evolution for Red Alert 3, which, if you may have guessed, is a total conversion that will eventually turn RA3 into Generals, but with the flair that comes from Red Alert 3. While this does aim to be a remake of Generals, it will not exactly be the same. And for those of you who are wondering, there are plans for additional content other than General stuff, but it'll be a long time before all that content is ready. If you really just can't wait any longer for this mod, check out the Release Client 1. Then our last mod took 3rd place in this year's Mod of the Year competition. That's right, Rise of the Reds is still going strong. Their latest update shows some new textures and models for several Russian units and structures. They also showed off a teaser for something new too. Not sure what it can be though, but we'll have to keep our eyes posted. If you haven't played this mod yet, it's time to find out why this game took 3rd place in the Mod of the Year competition. I mean, come on, really?
Welcome to the BattleCast 10. That's right, we've got 10 awesome matches for you to enjoy in our holiday special. Game 1 features GLA crew versus USA Murder in Generals on Tournament Desert. It's classic 2-supply Rock Vs for Murder, and crew gets terrorists in cars to hit the power plant of Murder. The name of the game for crew is Multi-Prong Attacks. Using terror technicals on one side of the map and RPGs on the other, Murder's Rock V Blob is having difficulty keeping up with the attacks, but Murder still manages to expand to the center of the map. Crew transitions to a Quad Scorpion composition, and Murder produces Paladins to beef up his army. Search and Destroy is initiated, allowing Murder's excellent control to make his Rock Vs extremely cost-effective. Crew's constant harassment helps curb the growing tide of USA power, and Crew finally decides to add buggies into the mix. With these buggies, Crew is finally able to put the hurt on the Rock Vs of Murder, and he finally forces the USA out of the game. Now I'm going to pass it along to PwnageMachine of the General's Gentlemen to bring you your 0-hour matches.
Our first match is on 1.4 between who I regard to be currently the best 2 players in 0 Hour. Sporting at the top of Sand Serpent as the USA Air Force General, we've got Size. And at the bottom as the GLA Demo, we've got Rage. Size takes control of the oil derricks whilst Rage takes both of the supplies. Rage launches his first assault against the western oil derrick, while Size uses his stealth Comanches to harass what he can. With the help of point laser defense, the Comanches of Size are able to weaken the map control of Rage. Size transitions into Rock Vs and is able to keep pushing Rage back. The base supplies start to deplete, so both players prepare for the late game with black markets and supply drop zones. The constant and relentless air raids from Size pave the way for Rock Vs and Colonel Burton to completely destroy the starting base of Rage. Rage must now take refuge in the corner island with his horde of black markets defended by tunnels, stinger sites, quads, RPGs, and demo bikes. Rage pushes out with quads and demo bikes, which crush the defenses of Size, but once his Air Force show up, it quickly turns around. Size unleashes wave after wave of destruction with the use of fuel air bombs, carpet bombs, King Raptors, and Spectre gunships. Rage is able to amass a large army of quads and launches a sneak attack into the base of Size, but with a perfectly timed leaflet drop and Raptor Strike follow-up, the quad attack gets decimated. Size responds in kind with another round of destructive powers in his base. Rage is ready for another huge push of quads, but once again a fantastic leaflet drop from Size locks them down, making them easy prey for the A-10 strike. The ridiculous amounts of black markets from Rage fuel his endless army of countless quads. Rage makes yet another huge quad push, but Size is ready and waiting with a fuel air bomb and blasts them into oblivion. But the endless stream of reinforcements is just too much, and when the Raptors get taken out, Size calls the GG. Our second match brings us to the semi-finals of the 1.6 Community Patch World Championship. At the top of Tournament Desert Classic, we've got Rage returning as the USA Super Weapon General, and he will be facing off against the GLA Stealth of Caro. Both players capture their old derricks, but Caro takes a stronghold of the middle supplies. Rage is constantly trying to push Caro out of the middle of the map with his mix of Rock Vs and Avengers. However, for Caro, buggies and quads prove adequate defense. Forced to turn to supply drop zones, Rage establishes his own defense of EMP Patriots. Now with Tomahawks and a nicer angle, Rage is finally able to clear out the left supply of Caro, whilst the Spectre gunship takes out the oil. Waiting in ambush, a well-placed saboteur cuts off the power of Rage, and Caro uses this opportunity to sneak in 2 battle buses to unleash havoc onto the supply drop zones. Not a second too soon for Rage, the power comes back online and takes out both of the battle buses. Rage pushes in with a huge counterattack, but Caro does a fantastic job of hit and run tunnel popping to hold off the attack with the help of his Jarman. This back and forwards desperate struggle continues on for minutes of non-stop action, the buggies constantly trying to snipe down some of the Humvees, whilst the Avengers try to keep them alive with the point laser defense. Caro finally gains the upper hand and decides it's his moment to strike. With the help of another saboteur to shut down the power of Rage, Caro pushes down the right-hand flank. Without the defenses of the EMP Patriot, Caro is able to take down the old Derek, but an A-10 strike from Rage finds its mark and pushes Caro back. Caro uses his GPS scrambler to stealth his quads and buggies, which gives them an even bigger edge over the army of Rage and allows them to muscle their way through the front door of Rage's base. Rage desperately tries to keep the army at bay, unleashing his fuel air bomb. Next up is the Spectre gunship, and now lastly the A-10 strikes going in, but Caro was too fast. Now Rage just has nothing left to stop Caro from tearing apart everything in his base. Adding insult to injury with an anthrax bomb and a sneak attack, Rage has nothing left and calls the GG. And that is it for Command & Conquer 0 Hour. I am PwnageMachine of the General's Gentleman. And let's move on to the next game.
In honor of Rise of the Reds' third place spot, we've got USA Bruce versus ECA Kairto on Tournament Desert. Both players open 2 supply, Rax, and Karuto goes for War Factory while Bruce gets a fast airfield. Kairto slips a Jeopard tank into Bruce's main, but Bruce's infantry take it down before any damage is done. Blackhawks harass Kairto, but he already knew that they were coming and deflects the attack quite easily. By the time Bruce gets enough Raptors to start putting on the pain, Kairto has his solar reactor and a respectable amount of Jeopards moving up through the middle of the map. The Raptors are destroyed, but the first wave of Jeopards are crushed. Kairto isn't worried as he's got a fresh wave of tanks and a shiny expansion in the middle of the map. The Jeopards wreck most of Bruce's base, and as Bruce is on the edge of defeat with hardly any structures left, his Colonel Burton starts wrecking face in the back of Kairto's base. A perfect combination of attacks and support powers keep Kairto busy defending his base while Bruce rebuilds. Kairto hangs on to the last moment, but one last wave of Crusader tanks followed up by carpet bombing and Colonel Burton seals the deal. GG, well played to both, and Bruce takes the win. Game 5 takes us to Tiberium Wars with Shock Treatment as the blue screen and Bike Rush owns as the red screen. The map is Tournament Rift. Shock opens dual portals and pumps out disintegrators to the north and the south. Bike doesn't see it incoming until Shock Treatment takes out his Spike. Bike reacts quickly and defeats the northern forces while both players drop cranes in preparation to expand. Shock Treatment expands to the south and looks to use his southern disintegrators to slow the expansion of Bike, but Bike sends Gunwalkers to his southern expansion while he takes the more aggressive middle field and quickly techs to Tier 3. Shock grabs the southern spikes and drops a ref on the blue field. Shock Treatment's tripods, Devastator warships, and Shock Troopers all assault the center expansion. Bike defends against the onslaught and wormholes a mastermind and captures Shock's technology assembler. Using the build radius, he drops his signal transmitter and calls in the mothership. Shock Treatment desperately sells off almost everything in his main base, and Bike base creeps to Shock's expansion with airfields forcing that to be sold off as well. Shock Treatment manages to get back to Tier 3, but with only portals, his chance is mass disintegrators, Shock Troopers, and the Mastermind. Shock Treatment pulls off a heroic defense and expands to Bike's natural, establishing economy and a new warp sphere. Bike doesn't let up and assaults Shock's new base. Engineers allow Bike to beef up his army right on the front line. Shock Treatment's reliance on portal units allows Bike's mass buzzers to clean most of it up, and Bike presses on for the win. We're heading to Kane's Wrath for Master Leaf as Traveler 59 and Technique as Black Hand on Tournament Dust Bowl. Technique opens dual racks for 2 engineers, but Leaf manages to capture the right side spike and snipe down one of Technique's engineers. Technique, knowing he's already behind, drops a second War Factory and sells his MCV in front of Leaf's scout. Technique starts pumping bikes for the all-in. Leaf is already on his way to expand, but he focuses on Seekers to survive. After about 6 bikes, Technique sells 1 War Factory. He rebuilds his MCV, expands, and goes into eco mode with classic Black Hand man spam to follow it up. Leafy's Seekers are left wondering where the army is, and Master Leaf cautiously gets his own expansion. Leafy figures out what happens and decides it's time to play mind games of his own. That is, mind control games, as he pumps out a ton of cultists. It's a classic war of Black Hand versus Traveler as each player comes close to victory before being beaten back. Devastator warships, planetary assault carriers, cultists, tripods, shock troopers, the hexapod, and even the rift generator comes into play for Master Leaf, while Technique utilizes his Redeemer rocket squads, bikes, buggies, and his multiple commandos to bring Leaf to the edge of death before Leaf can finally push back one last time and win the game. Game 7 pits Steel Talon's Johnny Calcina against Nod Bike Rush owns once again on Tournament Dust Bowl. Bike Rush opens shadow teams to capture capture each spike, Johnny loses a squad, but not his power plant as he chases away the shadow teams. It's quick Orcas after expand for Johnny, while Bike gets dual War Factory and techs to tier 3. Reckoner Fanatics are a little too next gen for this game, and Bike decides to go for avatars instead. Johnny walks up to Bike's main with a line of Titans and manages to stomp around to do some serious damage. Bike went for dual MCV and has a Redeemer hidden in the north that puts the hurt on Johnny's main. Johnny survives and mops up the rest of Bike's natural. Railguns finish and Bike doesn't have enough to stop the wave of Titans that come crashing on his base. As everything goes down, Bike has only well-split rocket troopers and he sells every building but his MCV to survive against the odds. His ragtag army, now with shiny new medals, moves out across the map as Bike Rush rebuilds and expands to the south. Johnny attacks with a quad engineer Marv, but it's not enough and the man spam holds the line. Both players desperately smash each other's bases. Bike Rush uses a commando to take down almost everything of Johnny's, and Johnny brute forces his way through Bike's base. In the end, it comes down to a power plant in the corner, and as Bike's forces hold their ground in front of the MCV, Johnny loses everything to the commando. Bike takes the victory. Game 8 brings us to Red Alert 3 with Dancall as the Random Empire against Angel Wings as the allies on Industrial Strength. Angel Wings goes 1 Rax dual refinery into expand, while Dancall goes 3 Dojo 2 Ref mecha before expand. Dancall techs straight to tier 2 before producing anything from his mecha, and Angel Wings quickly sets up a 3rd and 4th refineries. Both players harass across the map with varying amounts of success, but Angel is able to snipe down one of Dancall's main refineries from the ledge. Angel Wings plays hard to get with Static D while building up a strong tier 3 ground army. Dancall can't find a solid angle to engage and kites around Angel's long-range forces. Dancall eventually utilizes point defense drones and Emperor's Rage to break through Angel's contain. Both players pull back and macro up large armies, neither one wanting to engage at a bad angle. Angel is able to force the engagement with a cryo-get-in, and Dancall's army gets split up. He manages to do some damage, but Angel's forces shred Dancall's army and eventually his main base. Any structure of Dancall's on land or near it is devoured by Angel's forces. A few Yaris get out and manage to clear Angel's water expansions, but the airfield still remains, and cryocopters come out in force to lock down this game for the icy allied Angel Wings. We're off to pool party with Empire GTX 480 and his ally Soviet GG against allied Vindies and Lictor. Each player grabs an oil derrick and heads up for a relatively early 3rd or even 4th refinery. Both teams send out small attack groups hoping to catch an opponent off guard, but both teams defend well and all 4 players tech up to tier 2. GTX tries to put the hurt on Vindies, but the plan backfires as Lictor comes to the aid of Vindies and the allied players take the fight to GTX's main, where at the last second GG's Twin Blade Bullfrog combo breaks up the attack, allowing GTX to breathe easy. Vindies tries supplementing his army with infantry, but it doesn't quite work out like he wanted, until GTX forgets to bring Tengus with his tsunamis and Tanya takes out almost all of them. Ooh. In the south, Lictor has gone crazy with mass cryo and mirage tanks, and he's able to severely weaken GG's hold. Vindies gears up for another push, once again mixing Tanya in, and with the help of Lictor's cryos, they barely manage to break GTX and GG. As Tanya destroys building after building, it's clear the allied brethren will not be stopped. GTX and GG tap out. Our final match takes us to Tiberium Twilight with Soligo, Andrea, and Zebra Stripes as GDI against Phoenix Storm, Booth, and A-Train 250 as Nod on the map Blood and Sand. Both teams grab their green tib, but GDI secures 2 control points early and captures both blue Tiberium crystals, detonating the southern crystal rather than give it to Nod. More Tiberium captures go to GDI and they continue to hold the majority of the control points for the next 12 minutes, rocketing almost a full 1,000 points ahead of Nod. A-Train holds his own against the forces of Andrea, securing a control point for Nod, while Booth and Phoenix work together to take back the other control points. GDI isn't giving up easy and still pushes even further ahead, passing 2,000 points and a 1,300 point lead over Nod. A-Train's Basilisk army clears out the north and Nod begins to claw their way back into this game. As almost every control point falls to Nod, they reclaim much of the point difference in under 10 minutes. Both teams have teched all the way up, and it's down to map control and the remaining points. GDI's lead is slowly dwindling as Nod manages to hold 4 control points and briefly controls all 5. Nod rockets ahead in points, and GDI can't seem to close the small gap that is left. Nod cannot be stopped and closes in on the last remaining points, pushing GDI out of the game. That's your 10 for this episode. A special thanks once again to PwnageMachine for joining me. You can check him out at the link in the description.
Our first fan art isn't holiday themed, but once again, the Cartoon and Conquer series from Nemeth. You can check out the latest on CNCNZ, but if you find yourself a little bit lost at what's going on, you may want to backtrack a few issues to catch up on what you've missed. The first holiday theme piece, from Sazlufa, Mistletoe, Yuri, and Tanya. The next piece I'd like to share comes from Kalle Bowo. He sent me a special Christmas card with an awesome picture and a naughty Christmas song that reads, "You better watch out, you better not cry, you better retreat, I'm telling you why. Santa Kane is coming to town. He's building a base and gathering troops to wipe out the GDI nincompoops. Santa Kane is coming to town. With flamethrower tanks, Tiberium bombs, bringing us peace until the day dawns. Santa Kane is coming to town." Thanks, Kalle. Now, the next piece comes from our very own Sybert, and features the General's Gentleman himself as commandos in a mashup of Generals and Generals 2. You can check out a full resolution, perfect for your desktop, below. Now on to a few more holiday images. This is one you just have to see to believe. It'll leave you wanting a Command & Conquer holiday. This one comes from Sting to Death. It's called Dr. Santa Thrax. Next one, you're going to need to grab some of these, a glass of milk, and jump into your favorite C&C game while you Command & Conquer these cookies, comrade. We have Red Alert cookies from Phylon. Last, but certainly not least, we have another piece from the C&C Minecraft guys who recreated a full-scale version of the first mission from Red Alert 2. So if you've got Minecraft, we seriously recommend that you check this out. You can pick up this incredible map from their website.
And thus we've reached the conclusion of 2013 and the 2013 holiday episode of Community BattleCast PrimeTime. I hope everyone had a wonderful Christmas and holidays, and we'll see you guys in 2014, Commanders. And remember, if you want to check anything out, the links for everything we talked about are in the description. Feel free to leave your feedback below in the comments or in the forums. And if you'd like to share news, mods, matches, or fan art with the community, just send them via nodsoldiergirl's email or Sybert's email. nodsoldiergirl@hotmail.com or sybert.replays@gmail.com. For nodsoldiergirl and Sybert, this is Doomtanker, and we'll see you guys on the battlefield.